What's up, guys? We're back with another video. Today, this swimming pool is losing about 3 inches of water a day, roughly 6 inches of water over the last 2 days. So we're gonna get started. We'll see what we find. Let's do this. All right, guys. So while we're working on this pool today, I want to show you the 4 steps that any leak detection company uses to be able to find a leak on any customer's swimming pool. To recap those 4 steps typically are: 1, listening with our microphones; 2 would be dye testing; the 3rd step is pressure testing the plumbing lines underground; and then the 4th step is physically diving into the pool and visually examining the entire structure. So as we go through this job today, I'll highlight each step and show you how each of them works, and I'll show you the tools that we use to be able to accomplish all of those steps. So let's get started with step number 1, which is listening with our hydrophones. All right, guys, so like I mentioned, step number 1, and the number 1 way that any leak detection company is going to find a leak in the customer's swimming pool is by using our professional microphones. So this one here is referred to as a hydrophone. It's an underwater microphone that we use to listen to the structure of the entire swimming pool. So what I'm going to do first thing is I'm going to use this microphone. I'm going to go all around the pool structure. I'm going to listen to the skimmers. I'm going to listen to the skimmer plumbings in front of the pool return line, their Polaris line. I'll listen to the spa, their lights, all of that. See if we can get any kind of indicator of where a leak might be. Because when a swimming pool is losing water, wherever that water is escaping is going to produce an audible noise that we want to pick up with this microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to give everything a listen and see if we can find anything. All right, so don't hear much in the spa, so I'm going to go ahead and listen to the pool, see if we hear anything in there. All right, guys, so we just got done listening with a hydrophone. Didn't hear much in pretty much the entire spot or pool. The only spot I heard a little bit noise was what sounded like this plumbing line, what sounded like the plumbing line for their deep end skimmer. So when we get ready to pressure test, we'll investigate that a little bit more. But that's it for the first step. The second step would, of course, be dye testing. Riley is here. He helped me. He already dye tested this pool. But I'll just share a couple thoughts and show you a couple of shots of us dye testing while we do that. A couple of principles when you're dye testing your pool, guys, is that you want the body of water to be as completely still as possible, because when we're dye testing, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if there's any kind of water current that's getting sucked out or leaving the structure of the pool or the pool plumbing anywhere. And so if the water is circulating or moving quite a lot, obviously it's going to be difficult to do so when you're dye testing. So obviously we want the body of water to be as still as possible, and then we want to just be very gentle when we dye test. So I'll get a couple shots. Like I said, Riley already dye tested for us, but I'll show you a couple of things that we look at and how we dye test, and then we'll move on to pressure testing and diving in the pool. And when you guys are dye testing, like we mentioned, we want a fairly stagnant body of water, or a fairly still body of water, so that when we're dye testing, we can tell, as I just stir up the water, we can tell what the water current is doing. We also want to be very, very gentle when we dye test. We just want to let a small bead of dye just like that. That way we can have a pretty good idea as to what that water current is doing. If you're just to give it a massive blast, you just have a big old puff of red dye just like that, it's going to be very difficult to tell where that water current is actually going. We'll just try to get that clear out of the way just a little bit. But if you're dye testing a plumbing line, this is just as an example. But you want to get right in front of that guy, and this is still swirling pretty good. But you just want to give a very small bead of dye so that we can get any kind of idea if there's a broken plumbing line or structural damage or anything like that. All right, guys, so that's steps 1 and 2 with our listening with a microphone and dye testing. Our next step, because we really haven't seen much except for a little bit of noise that I heard in the deep end skimmer throat, like I mentioned already, our next step is now to start pressure testing. And when we're pressure testing, we're just checking the integrity of all their plumbing lines underground. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our pressure testing plugs, just like this one. We've got a whole bunch more for all the different size plumbing lines that they've got. We've got pressure rigs, we've got compressors, we've got water hoses, all the stuff that we need to be able to test their plumbing lines underground. I'll show you that stuff on video. But the first step to pressure test is to get everything in the pool plugged up with the pressure testing plugs. So I'll take a couple seconds, get everything plugged, and then I'll show you what we do at the equipment. All right, guys, so whenever we're getting ready to pressure test, to be able to get access to all our plumbing lines. All the fittings, the eyeballs, the drain covers have to get removed. So for the eyeballs, we'll just use a hammer and a pry bar, obviously a screwdriver to remove the covers for the spa drain. Whenever we're getting ready to pressure test though, we always like to drain the spa empty just because it makes it a little bit easier to do stuff like that, as well as to check the structure of the spa. If there's any kind of structural damage, a crack running through it, problem with the pool tile or the spa tile, any kind of separation around a plumbing line, when the spa is empty, a lot of times it's going to be easier to see stuff like that. So we always make it a habit to drain the spa empty before we start pressure testing. So we got Riley underwater right now. He's plugging up the customer's main drain. And while I'm pressure testing, he'll be checking the light, the structure, everything else to see if there's anything underwater that we can't see from the surface. All right, so we're ready to pressure test. We got Riley in the pool. He's got the drain plugged up. He's checking the structure, checking the light, all that good stuff. So while he's in the pool doing that, I'm gonna test our plumbing lines. Like I said, the only red flag we have so far is our deep end skimmer, which is gonna be this plumbing line right here. Besides that, we've got to test spa drain, shallow skimmer, main drain, pool Polaris line, spa jets, spa drain, and we'll see if we find anything. Hopefully there's a leak on the deep end skimmer, because that's the only red flag that we see so far. But we'll test it. I'll probably put this on time lapse and we'll see if we can find anything. Alright guys, so we're getting towards the end of our pressure test. To be completely honest, this one's been kind of a pain in the butt. One thing that we have to deal with as a leak detection company is a lot of times the pools that we're working on are 30, 40, 50 years old. And so when we're trying to plug up all these different plumbing lines and pressure test different plumbing lines, trying to find the correct size pressure testing plug can sometimes be difficult, because the plumbing lines and the systems that they're in back in the 70s and 80s, even to the 2000s and 2020s now, are all quite difficult, and making sure that we have the correct size plugs. Sometimes we're using inflatable plugs. Sometimes those plugs fail, the bladders get broken, they start leaking, and just trying to find the correct size plug that's going to seal that plumbing line up perfectly. A lot of times that can be difficult, and if we don't have the perfect size plug, if we're trying to pressure test, we might see a pressure loss on our pressure gauge, and then we're trying to play this game of figuring out whether our plug is failing, if it's the wrong size, or if the plumbing line actually does have a leak. So pressure testing this pool did turn out to be kind of a pain, but we are just about done now. And on the bright side, I'll show you this. We mentioned that the skimmer in the deep end sounded like it was making noise with a microphone. Right now we are flooding the deep end skimmer plumbing line, and we've had that running for about 5 or 10 minutes now. You can see that we're filling that line up with water, and if we cut the water source off, it just goes straight to zero. So we know that plumbing line is plugged up perfectly fine. So that kind of pressure loss tells us that plumbing line is completely severed. So what we're going to do now is we're just flooding it. We want to get that soil sopping wet, and then to find where it's broken underground, I'm going to take my air compressor and we're just going to hit it with a whole bunch of compressed air, and it should make a whole bunch of commotion. So we're going to let that flood for a couple more minutes. From what I heard on the microphone, I think it's going to be pretty close to the pool where it's broken, but we'll find out in just a second. All right guys, so we're flooding the skimmer plumbing line right now with the water hose to get that soil sopping wet. I'm going to give it a listen with the microphone, see if we can hear anything. And if we don't, then we'll try the air compressor and see if we can hear anything underground with the air compressor. But we'll get a listen with just water running first. All right, so listening throughout the majority of the pool with just the water hose running, you couldn't hear much. But as soon as I put my microphone inside the skimmer housing itself, I can hear what sounds like a ton of rumbling at the bottom of the skimmer. So my best guess is that the 90-degree elbow underneath the skimmer housing going towards the equipment that way is going to be broken. So now we're going to have Riley hit it with an air compressor, and we're going to see if we can hear anything. Here goes round two. All right, so give it a second blast with the air compressor. I can without a doubt hear that plumbing line is broken underneath the skimmer housing. As soon as I put my ear on the deck, we just hear a ton of commotion right underneath the skimmer. And so we're having Riley load up the air compressor one more time, I'm gonna take the camera and put it inside the Skimmer housing, see if we can hear it on video for you guys. But if not, you'll just have to take my word for it. It's without a doubt broken right here. And once we're done with that, that should be about it for this leak detection. So here goes one last blast. All right guys, so that's it for this job. Like I said, this one turned out to be a little bit more frustrating just from the aspect of pressure testing the different plumbing lines. Like I said, when we're dealing with pools that were built in the 70s and 80s, sometimes it's difficult to find the perfectly sized pressure testing plug so that we can be completely accurate when we're getting our pressure testing results. Sometimes we're also dealing with bad glue joints that can cause a very small amount of pressure loss, but it's not actually causing any water loss in the pool itself. So stuff like that can often kind of be a monkey wrench in our job or in our plans to try to get everything to go as smoothly as possible. And that's kind of what happened today. But that's the reality of this line of work, and really with any kind of line of work within the trades, this stuff is not always going to go perfectly, is it? And real professionals and people who develop real skills oftentimes do so by learning how to work around your problems or when jobs are not going perfectly well. So thankfully, we were able to find a massive leak in the Skimmer plumbing line that you guys have already seen. They also have a structural leak at the bottom of this spa that we've got video of as well that we can put up on this video so you guys can see that as well. But that's gonna be it for this one. That's listening with the microphone, dye testing, pressure testing, diving in, visually examining, and that helps us come up with an answer for our customer. If you guys enjoyed this video, let us know, give us a like. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit the subscribe button. If there's anything you want to know about leak detection or our tools or the leak detection process that I didn't cover in just this one video, leave me a comment and I'll be sure to answer your questions in our comments below. But that's it. Like I said, guys, I want to do more of these videos so you can see kind of the day-to-day aspect of my life and our jobs and hopefully teach you a little bit along the way. But that's it for this job. We got one more we got to go to today, so we're going to go knock that out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.